much. Wow. Oh, I am so happy to be here. It is great being in Cleveland. Thank you all. I want to thank Kim Graytak, a teacher right here at John Marshall, for introducing me. And I want to thank all the teachers and educators, the staff and the students of John Marshall. I am delighted to be here with your mayor, Mayor Frank Jackson. Also with my longtime friend, your former governor, candidate for the Senate, Ted Strickland. With your County Executive Biodish, I know is here somewhere. And with my great friend who did an excellent job presiding over the Democratic National Convention, Congresswoman Marcia Fudge. I always love being here, and today is particularly special because I got a tour of this high school. And I, first of all, want to thank the people of Cleveland for investing in a high school that is really all about the future. What a stark contrast this high school poses to what happened here in Cleveland during the Republican convention. Because honestly, they painted such a bleak, negative picture of America. I couldn't recognize our country listening to their angry speeches, the kind of negative view that they had of our people. Donald Trump saying, "We never win anymore." Well, tell that to the Cavaliers. Tell that to our Olympic athletes who are cleaning up in Rio. There is nothing we can't do if we put our minds to it. And that's how I want America to feel about itself and how I want every American to feel. And I saw the future. The students and teachers who showed me what they're doing here in robotics, in 3D design, in laser design, in entrepreneurial and civic education. I, for one, am really proud of this high school and what it represents for the students here. And why is that so important for those of us who are no longer in high school? Because we've got to get the economy working for everybody, not just those at the top. And how are we going to do that? Well, I know that too many families right here in Ohio are feeling a lot of financial stress, worrying about how they're going to make ends meet, dealing with all the costs from childcare to prescription drugs. I understand that. That's why I have laid out specific plans about how we're going to get the economy working for everyone. And I think it's important when someone comes to you and asks for your support running for president, that maybe they tell you what they want to do so that you can decide who you want to vote for. And sometimes, you know, I get criticized for doing that. People say, "Oh, there she goes. She has another plan." Well, I do. I've got an infrastructure plan to create millions of jobs, fixing our roads, our bridges, our tunnels, our ports, our airports, our water systems, our sewer systems. As part of that plan, I want to start a national infrastructure bank so that we have public and private funds working together so we don't just wait on Congress to act, but we are building, rebuilding, maintaining all the time. And it's not just what we could see, as important as that is. We need a new, modern electric grid that can take and distribute clean, renewable energy across America. And we need to finally finish the job of connecting every home and business everywhere in America, from inner cities to remote rural areas to high-speed broadband access so they can be part of the 21st century digital economy. You know, I was talking to a group of my friends who are teachers. I love teachers. Thank you all for being here with me. And they were telling me there had just been a national survey done. And the teachers were asked, do you ever assign homework that requires your students to go on the internet? And the answer was 70%. Yes, they did. Now that makes perfect sense if you just saw what I saw. You got to have knowledge of the internet. You've got to be able to learn to use it. It can spark your imagination, create new dreams. I met young people. I said, well, what got you interested in computer design, 3D design, robots? Well, they were interested in the arts. They were interested in what they could do to design and make things. So the answer was 70% of teachers, but here's the problem. 5 million students, 5 million homes with students in them in America do not have access to the internet. And so we're already creating a big gap, a homework gap, which turns into an achievement gap, and doesn't give every kid the chance to go as far as his or her hard work and talent will take them. So when I talk about infrastructure, I'm talking about making our economy more competitive and creating more opportunities for more Americans willing to work for it, because I believe in the basic bargain. If you're willing to work, you ought to be able to get ahead and stay ahead. That's how I was raised. That's what I want Americans to believe again. You know, this past Monday, I was in Scranton, Pennsylvania with Joe Biden. And Joe was born in Scranton. My grandparents, my father was born in Scranton. I went back to Scranton every summer, a lot of Christmas holidays. My grandfather was an immigrant, came as a young child. He worked in the Scranton Lace Factory, making lace, which was a big deal back in those days. I remember we used to have lace curtains and lace tablecloths and things like that. And my grandfather worked really hard because he believed if he worked hard, he could provide a better life for his kids. And he did. My dad got to go to college. He went to Penn State, where he played football. And then he took a job in the Midwest as a salesman, and then went into the Navy during World War II. And when he came out, he started a small business. And he worked really hard. And I used to go help him sometimes, because he printed fabric for draperies, and he had a print plant, and he had 2 long tables, and it was, you know, it was just an old plant. It was, you know, low ceiling, no windows, and he would print that drapery fabric. He'd take an old-fashioned silk screen, and he'd put it down, he'd pour the paint in, and then take a squeegee, and then go from one side to the other, pick up the screen, keep going down the table. And he provided a good life. I grew up in a suburb of Chicago, and so I know what the American dream is all about. I am proud to be the granddaughter of a factory worker and the daughter of a small businessman, and standing here before you. And so when I think about how hard my dad worked, and I think about him printing those fabrics and then loading them into his car and delivering them to whoever had ordered them, and then expecting to be paid because he had done the work, it just really hits me personally when people are standing up and telling their stories. They were small business people, they were plumbers, electricians, painters who did work for Donald Trump, and he refused to pay them. That violates the basic bargain. If you do your job, you're supposed to be rewarded for your work, not stiffed, not told to go sue somebody. And I can't help but take it personally because I think about what would have happened to my family if my father had taken a job like that and put his heart and soul into it, bought the material, bought the paint, did the labor, shows up, delivers the product, and is told, we're not paying you. But person after person, small business after small business is telling the same story, that they were not paid. They were told to go sue Donald Trump. Well, you're a small business. You can't afford lawyers to go sue somebody. That's not the way it's supposed to work. So when I talk about creating new jobs in infrastructure, advanced manufacturing, clean renewable energy, I also talk about creating more small businesses, and small businesses that will actually grow and give more people a chance to fulfill their dreams and will be part of the basic bargain, who will be paid for the work that they do so they can stay in business.